welcome to episode 1 of the Clip That Show. Today we're joined by a special guest, Andrew Fenichel. If you don't know Andrew or haven't followed any of his socials, Andrew posts sports content relating on the NFL and NBA. He does everything from game recaps and player analysis to the biggest headlines in sports.
Yeah, Andrew's worked for companies like the NFL Media, ESPN, and Pro Football Focus before transitioning to now being a full-time content creator. Andrew, thanks for joining us.
Of course, guys. Appreciate you having me on. I see you did your research, which is cool. So, yeah, man, excited to be here. This is a bigger deal than ESPN and NFL Network. So, this is the real.
Yeah, maybe one day.
Yeah.
So, the biggest thing right now, I would say the biggest story, is the Lakers Timberwolves. The Lakers were eliminated last night in 5 games by the T-Wolves. And I'm just curious, Andrew, if you watched that and kind of what are your first thoughts on that game? Like, where do the Timberwolves go from here? Do they have a shot to win it all? Can they beat the Thunder in the West? And then also, how does this impact the Lakers offseason?
Where do you want to start? You want to start with the Lakers or you just want to start with the Wolves?
I think we start on the Wolves side. They're the ones that won it.
Sure. Not how most people would go with it, but the Wolves are no joke, dude. Like, I'm kicking myself that I did not pick the Wolves to win this series. I went Lakers in 7 before it started. Pretty much just because, like, I thought, like, Luka and LeBron, 2 all-time playoff performers, would just be able to mismatch hunt the whole time. And, let's also call it out as it is. Like, the T-Wolves were arguably the most inconsistent team in the NBA all year. Like, you can look at the 6 seed. Obviously, they only were, like, a game or a game and a half outside of being the 3. So their final record was good. But for half the season, the Randall piece of it was always a mystery. The Gobert piece of this in the playoffs was a mystery, right? Like, they had so many inconsistencies, so I kind of just defaulted and went with the Lakers, even though, but going into the series on my channel, I was like, look, I think this is a bad matchup for the Lakers with all the size differential and the depth and the shooting. So I think the T-Wolves are really good. I absolutely do think they can come out of the West. I might have a video coming out later today about that exact thing, but
perfect.
They're good, man.
Yeah, and Gobert was phenomenal last night. He had 27 points, 24 rebounds, I believe, which, I mean, that's crazy for anyone, but to see that from Gobert after his, he's known for being a defensive player, but to have that kind of impact everywhere. And, like, especially on the defensive side last night as well, he was just all over, and I think probably the biggest reason that they were able to win Game 5.
And then also a big story, obviously you mentioned it, the Lakers. What are they going to do now in the offseason? I mean, obviously a great organization. They have the money, so where do they go out and make the moves?
They don't have much to work with. So LeBron's got this player option, which he either picks up for like $52 million or something, or he does his classic opt out, re-sign for like a year and another player option. Either way, like, I mean, look, I'm never trying to be the guy who is gonna pocket watch, but like, why shouldn't LeBron do what Dirk did his final couple of years in the league and sign for like $15 million? You know what I mean? If there's ever a time for LeBron to do it, it's what Brady did for years, and with the Pats. So we're going to watch that. Austin Reeves is also extension eligible. He's got a player option after this year. I think it'd be interesting to see them flip him to like the Orlando Magic for like a Wendell Carter or something like that. But they have like 1 first-round pick. They got Austin Reeves and, whatever trade value Dalton Connect has. Not much to work with, so we'll see.
Yeah, I know it's kind of a running joke, but they really do need a center. Like, it's bad. I don't know if you saw Mark Williams last night. He posted on Twitter and Instagram, I believe, just kind of cheeky little messages about the Lakers' demise here. And I think he would have helped a lot in this series. I think they could still be in it if they had gotten Mark Williams. Like, he's not like a super high-end player, but he would have that impact that they need right now.
He'd be better than Maxi Kleber playing minutes in the fourth quarter, that's for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Looking at the playoffs as a whole, just quickly here, who do you have winning it all, where it stands right now?
I'll stick with my prediction before the playoffs started. I'll go Celtics in 6 over the Thunder.
Okay, yeah. Celtics and Cavs in the East is very much a toss-up for me, I would say. But the Thunder are clearly the best team in the West, although this Timberwolves series did show something. And I also think that I am somewhat of a Warriors fan, but I do think that they really have what's needed to take on the Thunder, just with Steph and Jimmy, their playoff experience, and the way that they are as talents. Staying in the NBA, The two things to watch for the offseason is probably Giannis and Ja Morant now at this point. Both are already out of the playoffs, and both have questionable futures with the team. Do you think we could see one or both of them traded this offseason?
I'm at the point where I'd be shocked if Giannis is a Buck in 9 months.
Really?
And I know it's like he's been one of the most loyal stars we've seen in the league in a while, right? In a lot of ways, and he's never asked out, and he probably never will directly. But like, why, right? Like, why would he want to be in Milwaukee anymore? That team's horrible. Like, I mean, I don't even know if they're a playoff team next year. Like, that team is so brutally bad. He's given everything to that city for his career. I mean, he's kind of hinted at wanting to play in a bigger market. For the team's sake, like if I'm a Bucks fan, I honestly would want to trade Giannis because otherwise we're just going to be first round exit for the next half decade and delaying the inevitable rebuild. So I think for every party involved, it makes sense to kind of move on. And yeah, I don't know. Do you guys disagree?
I think doing research like coming into this, I saw the Bucks have no first round picks for I think 7 years, something crazy like that. And like looking at the floor in that last 30 seconds of that game against the Pacers, it was like Gary Trent, AJ Green.
Although Gary Trent was insane.
Yeah, Gary Trent was going off, but like, I mean, you have Giannis and you have like Kyle Kuzma, like, I mean, and then I mean Damian Lillard, that's a whole nother situation, but
yeah, because he's out for another year now, so
yeah, just no young talent really, nothing like special to watch. It's just I'm just glad I'm not a Bucks fan, I guess.
Yeah, and I think it's impressive too his loyalty that it had been. Probably him and Steph, the most loyal players in the league for a long time, but I think it has to be the breaking point because he got Milwaukee a ring already, and I think there's no reason not to just blow it up now.
Absolutely.
And then moving on to Ja, some of the same teams have come up in maybe preliminary talks about a trade, like the Nets and the Rockets. I think have been mentioned for both. And for me personally, I think the most intriguing landing spot for Ja would be on the Orlando Magic with Banchero and Wagner because they need, I think, a star point guard would benefit them heavily. And obviously, Ja's a very special player. He does have the off-court issues, which I was reading an article in The Ringer the other week, actually, and it was mentioning how it's a weird situation because he's the one thing that he controls their ceiling, but he can also instantly bring like their floor down with whatever he gets into. So it's an odd scenario there, and if I were the Grizzlies, I would definitely be exploring moving on from Ja. What do you think about that?
Does he really have off-the-court issues? I don't know if we want to go there, but like, right, as far as what certain guys, I mean, the injuries is one thing, sure, but like
Yeah, injuries for sure as well.
the gun issues, which not like he was breaking any laws 2 years ago. That was 2 years ago, right? Like I don't know. Like I think a lot of the hate Ja gets is kind of like a low blow in a lot of ways. I guess what I'm getting at is I'm a Ja Morant fan. I think he's still very dynamic when he wants to be. I think the coaching staff too kind of screwed him this year. The Taylor Jenkins offense didn't really work. He wasn't putting up big numbers. I still think he can be really good. The Magic, though, here's a take. I'd rather them get Trae Young. I don't know if either guy is on the market, but I'd rather get the guy who's like a better playmaker, better shooter. They don't really need Ja's strength is like get downhill and go dunk on your face and like attack the rim. I mean, that's what Paolo does, you know? So
That's true. Yeah.
yeah, but either way, I mean, the Magic could go and do a lot of fun things this summer. They're my kind of team to watch on the trade market.
Yeah, I guess I would frame more of Ja's issue as availability, injuries, and then not much as off court, but just like the risk of getting suspended. Like obviously he's on the NBA's like watch list for that.
That's true.
If that's a thing, and so he's always running the risk of not being available for the next game.
Yeah. All right, that's all we have for the NBA side, and we'll move over to the NFL now. Obviously, it's been a week since the NFL draft. We saw the storylines with Shadeur, and I mean teams were picking their guys. So, how do you feel about how like your Commanders drafted?
I'm a fan, man. I mean, you could never it's never a bad thing to go offensive line round 1 when you have a franchise quarterback, right? Like, I'll never fault that pick. Obviously, like, our fan base wanted a defensive end because we kind of have nobody to rush the passer right now. But I'm also happy with the Trey Amos pick round 2. You know, I'm kind of just like Jalen Lane out of Virginia Tech. He runs like 4.3 wide receiver. We'll take that, right? So we didn't have a ton of draft capital, and I think we kind of capitalized and filled a bunch of needs with what we had.
Yeah, and their offensive core should be good now, right? Because they went and got Debo. Although, I mean, there's obviously questions about his performance now. He's a very polarizing player, I'd say. He was like my number 1 target on fantasy for like years, and then it just really never panned out. Because, yeah, I mean, injuries, and also just he didn't produce as much as you would think he would when he was on the field. But yeah, no, I'd say definitely from the standpoint of building around Jalen Daniels, they had a really good draft. Who would you say won the draft overall?
I really like what the Seahawks did. They went Gray Zabel round 1. Sure, you could argue like offensive guard in the first round is not, great process. I think when it's the Seahawks and they had like me at offensive guard going into the season, then it's probably a good pick, right? Especially they went all in, they got Sam Darnold. I think Darnold's a guy that kind of needs a good offensive line to succeed too. So yeah, I thought they crushed it, and then they also took Milroe. I think round 3, round 4, high upside quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Like never gonna fault that pick either. I think that's better than taking Tyler Shuck early round 2. Shout out to the Saints fans out there, but yeah, I thought they crushed it. I like what the Cowboys did. Got to admit, pains me to say, but Tyler Booker, Donovan Ezraku, Siobhan Ravel. I mean, that's as good of a top 3 picks as you're gonna get. So. Honestly, yeah. Those would be my 2 other big winners.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this. The second-round pick that the Seahawks had was Nick Amawari. I think that's how you pronounce it, from
Monster.
South Carolina.
Monster.
And, yeah, the defensive coach who, helped Kyle Hamilton right out of college is now the defensive coordinator for the Seahawks. So he's drawing comparisons to Hamilton, and after, a crazy combine, obviously.
Hamilton's really good.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of good safeties in the league now. You got Caleb Downs coming next year. He's probably the top talent in next year's draft.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of teams have safeties who just do everything around the field. Yeah. We wanted to get into you posted a short, I think it was last week or earlier this week, about taking Travis Hunter, number 1 overall over Cam Ward. And we kind of wanted you to maybe re-elaborate your thoughts on that, because it's not the most popular take, but it definitely is it definitely was considered, for sure. And it's also interesting that the Jaguars are the team to trade up and get him.
Yeah, the take for people who didn't see the video was that I said the Titans. Look, let me backtrack a little bit. I kind of hyped it up in a little bit of a hot takey way, and I said it would be a mistake to take Cam Ward.
Sure.
If you don't have a quarterback, you kind of have to take the quarterback, and that's kind of what the league that's what the NFL is. So maybe a mistake was a little bit of a hot takey phrasing, but my point was really if you're not sold on Cam Ward, which I don't think I am, I don't think he's in the caliber of quarterback prospect of, let's say, the top 3 guys in last year's draft. Well, then you're kind of hamstringing yourself when you take a guy that you're not sold on, because you have to kind of commit to him for 3 years, and if he's not great, or if he doesn't have the potential to develop into a top 5-10 quarterback, which again, we can argue Cam Ward does or doesn't, whatever. I don't even hate Cam Ward. I think he's solid. My point is, I think Travis Hunter is generational, and I think the Jags prove that they agree by trading up for him. So my kind of argument was the Titans should either trade back or draft Travis Hunter, reset, go into next year's draft where supposedly, there's better quarterback talent available, and then they can really run with it. It's mostly a pro Travis Hunter take.
Yeah. Sure. And then obviously the Browns, they ended up taking Dylan Gabriel and Shadeur, but do you like the decision to trade back with Jacksonville? Do you think that I think it's crazy you had him in your hands, but you just decided to trade the pick. But what do you like? Do you think that's a good decision from them, or?
Yes, I'm almost like going up against my own take here, but I also would say yes because analytically, it's almost always the right decision to trade back. You know, what I would compare it to as a Commanders fan was the 2020 draft where we had the second overall pick, and we ended up going Chase Young, who everybody coming out of Ohio State thought was like the next, name your superstar Hall of Fame pass rusher. I was debating with my brother a lot leading up to the draft. Hey, do we trade back? Do we take a quarterback like a Tua or Justin Herbert? Or do we sit there and take Chase Young? He wanted to take Chase Young, and my argument was like, look, as good of a prospect as he seems, nobody's a guarantee. And if you can get multiple firsts and just more shots at the dartboard, it's kind of the better pick. So obviously it turns out I was right about that one. But yeah, I think it was a win-win for both teams. The Browns have a lot of holes. They have a lot of money still owed to Deshaun Watson, so they can kind of use more players on rookie deals.
Yeah, and we covered this a bit, but their QB room is just like a mess. Like it's really weird. It's just weird, honestly. Like I mean, you have Watson and then Flacco and Pickett, and then Gabriel and Shadeur. What two would you like cut from that group, or would you move on from?
Oh God. We need like I don't know if Hard Knocks can just sign immediately to beat on the Browns this offseason, or just let's get like the Bachelor crew. Let's get ABC into the Browns locker room and just do a reality show with the quarterbacks. But, I think Pickett's got to go.
Yeah.
Because I think Flacco is the best option day one.
Which is not a good problem to have.
Yeah.
I think Flacco is the best option day one, so I'd keep him around. They really didn't give up much for Pickett either. They like swapped a 5th and a 6th or something, plus DTR to get him. So I would cut him. I mean, I think Shadeur's better than Dylan Gabriel, but clearly the coaching staff and the front office like Gabriel more. So I don't know. What would you guys do?
If you can move on from Watson, certainly would. And
Yeah,
I think
honestly.
Flacco would be a good leader for Gabriel and sure you just gotta have them like compete with each other to develop to be the starter eventually. That's probably the ideal scenario.
I mean, you got to get rid of Watson, in my opinion, but I know Shadeur is a little bit more hyped up than he should be with like all of like the things that happen like off the field and Dion and stuff like that, but like I just cannot picture Joe Flacco mentoring Shadeur Sanders because this guy is like 40 years old, like, and then Shadeur is walking in with a Rolex.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Like,
At the lunch table, like what current events are they talking? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, they're probably the most polar opposite you can get.
Yeah.
And I forget where I saw this, but it was kind of on the topic of Shadeur, kind of how the media thought he was a first round pick. That's how he portrayed himself. That's how the media portrayed him, and everything built to him being like this top 10, almost generational talent. But I think all the NFL teams knew that he wasn't, and no one looked at him that way in the actual NFL personnel. And so that's why there was that like crazy story and divide during the draft.
Right. It's I think this happens more than we think, where team front offices disagree with the media and the general public portrayal of someone.
okay, we kind of moved off of Travis Hunter a little bit, but is there a world where Travis Hunter could win both the offensive and defensive rookie of the year? I know he's like, they're saying he's going to start at wide receiver and like slowly build into the defense, but in your opinion, like, can Travis Hunter, like, if he has a great year, win both?
Sure. I think the only way that happens, though, is if he plays full-time corner and then is like a red zone package guy at receiver. Gets, 10 touchdowns on 20 snaps per game, or whatever, right? Like, he kind of puts up the numbers at receiver without really playing receiver snaps while being a great lockdown corner. I don't know. The other way around would be pretty hard.
Yeah. This is like the easy target, but I feel like a comparison for him cross-sport at least would be Shohei Ohtani. Is that fair?
Yeah, except like Ohtani pitches once every 5 days. he's not doing both, you know, right? So then baseball, of course, is just like less taxing on your body game to game, I would say, than football. So
Yeah.
That's definitely.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
Shohei's
but
spending,
it's as close as we got.
yeah, Shohei's spending a bunch of time in the dugout, especially right now. So
That's true.
he's just going up there to hit. But yeah, so then who do you have for your offensive and defensive rookie of the year picks then?
Good question. Low-key, I like Jackson Dart, honestly, to have a better rookie season than Cam Ward.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
Come on.
Yeah, you agree? Because, like, I mean, the Giants just have a better team than the Titans, you know? It's going to be hard for Cam Ward to put up crazy numbers.
Yeah.
So I would like, yeah, I honestly like Dart as like a sleeper. If he plays, of course. Who else? I'd like to see Malachi Starks win Defensive Rookie of the Year. You know, I mean, he's just going to be slot into that Ravens defense, and he's a ball hawk, right? He's played on good defenses in the past, so like if Starks can, you know, get a couple pick sixes on a good Ravens team, I could see him winning Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were gonna get to this later, but Luke is a hilariously big Jackson Dart fan.
I'm a Jackson Dart believer. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
We wanted to get into kind of like a rapid fire segment, you know, not diving into it too much. We just
Do you
wanted to get
wish
some
you
quick
guys
answers.
took him over Warren? I see you have the Colts shirt on.
Oh, I'm not a huge Colts fan, but if we can do anything we can to get rid of Anthony Richardson, I'm fine with it because I am not an Anthony Richardson believer. So,
Okay, fair enough.
yeah, but I mean, I think Tyler Warren was the correct pick for the Colts. I mean, that's all the fans were talking about, and Ballard finally did what the fans wanted, it seemed like, for once. So,
Yeah. For our last segment, we wanted to kind of get into like a rapid fire section where we give you some questions and you kind of just answer yes or no or like, you know, the premise of the question. So our first one is just Shea or Jokic. Who's your MVP this year?
Jokic.
okay, and then favorite NFL draft pick this year?
For any team,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go Mike Green, second round to the Ravens. I think he's a steal as long as the off the field stuff checks out.
Yeah, he's a dog. What's your take on reffing in the NBA playoffs right now? Good or bad?
Love it. Absolutely love it. If you're the way they're like letting the guys play, absolutely love it.
Who's your favorite player to watch right now in the NBA playoffs?
That's a good question. And I feel like Ant's the easy pick. Ant's been a lot of fun. I'll throw Donovan Mitchell in there too.
Yeah, he's kind of forgotten, I feel like.
Yeah, the Cavs, I feel like, are kind of going under the radar right now. But
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Who's the next Sam Darnold for next year in the NFL? Like the QB, kind of forgotten, will have a crazy breakout year.
Wow.
Or even
that's
a
a good
Geno
question.
Smith.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good question. Because like Baker's too good to be in that conversation.
Yeah, he kind of had that moment.
Yeah, right. Last year, maybe 2 years ago. I'm trying to even think who I'd throw in there.
It is a tough question. I don't think we can prepare answers. JJ McCarthy doesn't really count, but I love JJ.
Okay. It would be cool to see Anthony Richardson break out. I don't know if we're getting it, but
yeah,
if anyone has the upside, it's him.
yeah,
It really comes down to his accuracy, I would think.
and injuries. All right, and then final one of these. I don't know if you've seen the trend like going around right now, but there's been a big like debate over who would win in a fight, like one gorilla or 100 men. So, what is your take on that? Do you think 100 men could take down a gorilla?
I can't believe anybody thinks 100 men wouldn't take down a gorilla. I mean, what are we doing? We have 100 guys. I think like I guess the question is like, who are the guys? Is it Joe from accounting or is it John Jones? But I don't know. Even if it was like 100 different caliber humans, I'm still going with the humans.
Right.
Tire the gorilla out.
I agree with you. Yeah.
If one guy knows any like high school level jujitsu, have him go last. Have the first 50 people tire this gorilla out. Bring in the one guy, just choke him out. You know what I mean? Jiu-jitsu style, and we're good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions. I feel like for the most fair, like to make it a debate, it'd probably be like random assortment of like everyone's 18 plus, but then literally just random from all across the world. But yeah, I do still feel like I am Team Human.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Agree with you. I'm with the men.
All right.
How many humans do you think die?
Oh,
I think that's the question, right? Or like, what's the fewest
Yeah.
number of humans we can throw out there?
I'd say somewhere around like 20 casualties, but like a lot injured.
Yeah. I think he's just using his fists and just hitting down on them because he's going to be so big.
Okay, actually, it could be more than 20.
I think everybody's getting injured a little bit, but it's just a matter of if the humans can work together to take him down, I guess.
Yeah. If we can pin him, so we got to go for the legs. You know, like
That's
bounty gate this gorilla like the Saints in 2012. Just go for the legs.
Yeah, gorillas are like ripped though. Like I was looking at pictures because of the debate, and I was like, dang. So to wrap this up, just give us your, we'll engagement farm a little here, but like, what's your hottest take in sports right now?
Hottest take in sports right now? I got a few, but I will say, honestly, and you're a Jackson Dart guy, I think the Giants are going to be really good next year. Like low key, like make the playoffs good. And this is coming from a Commanders fan who knows how good the Eagles are. But that defense should be nasty, especially now adding Abdul Carter too. I mean, they have like 3 legit pass rushers. They got guys in the secondary. Malik Neighbors, I think, could be like offensive player of the year good. You know, they have enough guys on the offensive line. I like the coaching staff. If Russ or Dart or whoever's back there can be like halfway decent, I think the New York Giants make the playoffs next year.
That's going to be the end of episode 1. Big thanks to Andrew for joining us. Always love like hearing his takes on YouTube and TikTok and stuff. So if you aren't already following him, make sure to go check out his content on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. We'll put those links in the description.
Yeah, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, share it with other sports fans. We got more content coming your way, more guests joining us like Andrew on the podcast, and we'll continue our usual flow of shorts. So thanks for listening. And as always, you can clip that.